Thanks for listening to the AC12 podcast, proudly presented by Little Caesars. Code 15OFF20, 15% off any $20 or more purchase, or use code LCFREECC. Free crazy combo with pizza purchase. All right, now with the great William Brad Alice, I'm merely Mike Luke. We have a lot to get to on this show, a lot to get to. First, we are going to talk about Arizona football. Duh, I get that Hawaii sucks. We're going to talk about all of that as well and what you can really take out of all this and everything. But William, at the end of the day, this is very simple for me. I wanted a game where Arizona just went out there and looked clearly like the better team. And we'll start off with the defense. I was happy by what I saw by the defense. I'm going to start there.
Yeah, I think overall you can be pleased with what we saw. Obviously, there's a few concerns with the defensive line, but when they weren't playing great, and there were stretches where they played great, they were being opportunistic, whether that was sacks at key times, whether that was a turnover at a key time, or the bone-jarring hits that we saw knock a few balls loose. And I think overall my biggest takeaway is, I don't know. There are going to be a few teams who are going to gash them on the ground. They're just going to outrun them. But this is a team that looks faster. They look like they fly around. Scheme-wise, they seem to have guys where you wanted them. And when they get there, they were aggressive, and they hit hard. And again, how many times did we see them jar a bar loose? A guy kind of take a quick glance before trying to catch the ball and drop the ball. And that's what you could ask for in this game. Again, there were some concerns with how well Hawaii moved between the 20s, but at the end of the day, they scored 6 points.
Right.
And one of those they barely got off because the defense made a good open field tackle.
Yeah. Now, Andy Bryant, great $4.99 super snap from Andy Bryant. Back to Brad. We love having Brad on here. Yes, sir. Thank you, Andy Bryant. Okay. Now, yes, I probably will pick Arizona. You guys are funny. But also, last year's defense felt very reactionary, and that they were basically going to try to react to what the other team did. And again, I get it. I get all of this. It's Hawaii. Hawaii sucks. I get all of that. But this year, Arizona was flying around on this one. Now, I will say on the first couple drives, I was a little worried because it felt like they were just playing ball control and they were just going to keep the ball out of Arizona's hands the whole time. But sooner or later, they started dialing up the pressure, and it came from a lot of different areas. When 5 different guys have a sack or a sack and a half, that's something we're not used to seeing around here, William.
Yeah, I thought early on Arizona was a little more vanilla, I think. And that's a credit to Hawaii that they made Gonzalez at least turn to page 2 in the playbook and dial up a few of those blitzes. I think that's going to be critical for Arizona, is being able to manufacture pressure from different positions, not just the 4-down linemen, but from linebackers, but from DBs. Off the edge, shooting a guy through gaps, delayed blitzes, things like that. I think he's going to have to be very creative, because at the end of the day, there is some talent limitations on this defense. But overall, we saw what they could do. And again, yes, I know it's just Hawaii. Hawaii is not a very good football team, but they're not a 1AA team either.
Right. And they did beat Stanford, which also, how bad is Stanford?
Stanford's terrible.
Yes.
But yeah, and I think that's what it shows you. That this Hawaii, I think my guess would be if you lined up last year's New Mexico and this year's Hawaii, it'd be a slugfest.
Right.
At the end of the day, Dampier, I think, would probably be better than anyone Hawaii has. And that's why he's at Utah now. But this is not like this is
last year.
Hawaii beats Weber State by 14, at least. They beat NAU. Right. They're not a good football team, but they're not an awful football team. This isn't whatever directional Texas school Texas Tech put 65 on. I mean, they're a below average, competent 1AA or 1A type team, or FBS or whatever we call it nowadays. But they're probably going to end up winning 4 or 5 games in the Mountain West like they always do. So from that kind of measuring stick, I am pleased, because I think if you were to be honest with ourselves, at any given time, Arizona had 15 of the 22 best players on the field.
Yeah. And that's what you're going for when you're playing a team like Hawaii. You should have the best players on the field. Now, I'm going to say this. What I did like, though, because I agree with you, I'm still skeptical. I don't know about how great the D line is going to be, but I will say this. You look at some of these linebacking numbers right here and what they were able to do and how they were able to dial up stuff. You got Malachi Bailey with a half a sack. You got Chase Kennedy, who Curious Skiba makes or who was it? Simple Jack Enduro makes a good point. His athleticism is off the charts to just move him there. Then again, you got Malachi Bailey, Leroy Palu with a half a sack. Jabari Mann. They were able to move the ball all over. Actually, Cody, why don't you just pull it up so I don't have to read it off the screen? But that's where, and Danny Gonzalez said from time, he said it's on me. He said to be able to get a pass rush, and he said if we're not getting that from the front, that's still on me to be able to dial up and be able to get something going. And for that first game, he did exactly that. I mean, how many sacks did Arizona even have last year? Like 10?
Yeah, it wasn't a ton.
Yeah. So Arizona has 5. I'll take that one. Everybody looks good against Hawaii. Electron vibes. That's not true. Stanford did it. Okay. So, but look up and down this box score, though. And this is also some of the stuff, though, that I think that you're probably going to become accustomed to. Dalton Johnson's, obviously you don't like your safety being the, your leading tackler and whatnot, but they played Dalton Johnson a lot. They played a lot of guys. And I think that's what's also exciting too, is that they're going to be moving guys in and out. They're going to be rotating a lot of different things.
No, I think that's something I want to see a little bit more of early in games is probably the rotation. And I wasn't charting it, but my feeling was that they didn't rotate enough defensive linemen early. And I get it. You're trying to get some guys their first extended work in an Arizona uniform. But I think for Arizona to be effective, they're going to have to constantly keep that defensive front fresh.
Yeah.
Because there are some teams who are going to be able to grind it out on the ground. There are some good running backs. Now, a lot of them graduated. It's not as deep a running back league as it was last year, but there are still enough quality teams, quality running backs and offensive linemen that some teams are just going to try to run. And what Hawaii did well, especially early, was mix the run and the pass.
Right.
They were able to get those 3-4 yards on first down, which allowed them to kind of open up the playbook as the game went on. And part of that was Gonzalez's adjustments. Part of it was the fact that Arizona got up, was you weren't able to, and I think Hawaii actually probably abandoned it too early as well, but they abandoned the run and they became a more one-dimensional team. And that allowed Arizona in turn to pin back their ears and get some sacks and pressure the quarterback.
Right. Now, Big 12 Bobby, not sure if it was brought up, but the long snapping was awful. The long snapping was not good. I would definitely agree with you on that one. Now, as far as the corners go in the secondary, I actually think it's a fairly good secondary. I really do. I thought that before the season, that was the one position on the defense that I didn't really have a ton of concern about. I mean, you look at it too. I mean, you got a lot of guys that are going to play, a lot of guys in and out. And I think that's the difference, though, honestly, Brad, from last year. Is that last year you had guys like Dwight Freeney as a backup corner, and then who's the other guy? The spitter. Who's the spitter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You had like Carnley and like Dwight Freeney or whatever is your backups. And that's just, those guys shouldn't be playing at this level. I look at it now, you got a guy like a Javion Cole, who was a, first team all Mountain West guy, went to Texas. Granted, he didn't play at Texas. That means nothing to me. He's one of your backups in there. You look at some of the safeties. You obviously got a Latrell that was there last year as well. But overall, it just feels like a different unit.
And they were down 2 guys too. Let's not forget, at least 2.
Right.
Killebrew. I was about to call him Harmon Killebrew, just like you called the one kid Dwight Freeney. No, the Colts defensive lineman was out there, and then of course Stukes. And I don't know if there is a prognosis on Stukes, but but that's 2 guys who are at least at worst rotational guys, and at best guys contending for starting spots that were missing from that game, and they looked fine. Again, no. A couple big pass plays, but most of those were good throws. Most of their big plays were broken tackles, not wide open guys. And Hawaii, while they did complete some passes, it did not appear in most cases to be breakdowns in coverage, to be lack of athletic ability to stay with receivers.
All right, let's get to a couple reads here. And then I want to talk about something that I noticed that also appears to be a little bit different than it was last year. Well, you want everything to basically be different than last year. I mean, let's be honest here. Come on. All right, yeah. All right, now RJ's Frozen Cactus, baby. All right, we got a watch party this week. You should show up to this. If you're not going to the game, show up here. You've got a huge parking lot. You could park a jet in. Dennis Walsh has already said he will be taking flights out there. Home of the AZ12 watch parties. Joseph, you should actually really show up. We could talk about setting up a golf game. 100 plus craft beers, $2 deals, pizza, wings, tacos, burgers, and more. No bad seats in the house. I'll be there about 6:45 or so. Everybody get there. Everybody get there. If you're not going to the game, RJ's Frozen Cactus, Red Hot Sports, and ice cold beer. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can meet my parents if you haven't met them and see who spawned me, those unfortunate souls. Okay, now what else we got? Oh, the parking lot, Heiko. Yes, exactly. The parking lot. That's a huge part of it. Okay, now what else you got? Talk to me. And they got very good food as well. Very tasty food. Yes. Okay, now Green Valley Decorative Rock. Welcome to the Rock. All right, now, Brad, where is Green Valley Decorative Rock located?
About a 4-minute walk from my house.
Right. Now, yes, how can you report on U of A football and actually not go to the game? Yeah, I watch it on TV, Marcus. It's easy. Yes. All right. Now, 2 convenient locations, 50 plus locally sourced landscaping materials, surfing residents and contractors. Now, William Brad Ellis, where do they deliver to?
Wait, but let me address Marcus, and then we'll get back to Green Valley Rock. You're not a reporter.
Yeah.
You're a show host.
I'm a show host. I have fun.
You don't proclaim to be a journalist, although you have a journalism background, is the irony.
Yeah.
Hey, I can tell you there were many times in the dark ages where myself and some fellow acquaintances of ours did post-game shows of games we couldn't watch because there was no broadcast.
And you were also handing each other a microphone back and forth as well, if I'm not mistaken.
That only happened once or twice. But,
well, that's awesome, though, yeah.
But yeah. So, again, his better half, Jason Shear, goes to the game, and he's the reporter version, and Mike's the show host.
Yeah.
And you come here as much for entertainment and reads and horrible singing as you do.
Yeah.
Just like you wouldn't go to Green Valley Decorative Rock to get your teeth done. You don't come to Mike Luke for hard-hitting journalism.
Yeah, no, you don't come here for me. Yes, I'm going to tell you my opinion. If you don't like it, well, that's tough. Yes, exactly. And we're going to bring the glove to anybody that doesn't like it. Yeah, Greg sucks. Okay, but either way, Green Valley Decorative Rock. Welcome to the Rock. Okay, now, let's see here. All right, what do we got? All right, now, here's where I'm at, though, also with the this team last year. There were
need to say a little bit more good things about Green Valley
Decorative Rock, yes. I would personally name the stadium after Green Valley Decorative Rock. I would have agreed Green Valley Decorative Rock Stadium. I think people would actually I think people would go for that. Green Valley Decorative Rock Stadium. Welcome to the Rock. And you can literally say that as they walk in. As they rock in. Get it?
Got it.
All right, check it out. Okay.
I'm the dad here, Mike.
Yeah, so that's true. All right, now, Brad, there was one thing, though, that I was not impressed. There's one thing, though, that I was impressed by that I was not impressed by last year. Okay, we've seen enough of the box score, Cody. Thanks. Okay. Last year, Arizona had too many guys that looked fat and out of shape or slow and not strong with like boy muscle. I'll use an example. We're going to get to Jeremiah Patterson, my friend, but I'll use an example. Jacob Manu last year. Jacob Manu was a monster in his first couple years at the U of A, especially because I always remember, and you were spot on this. You said going into his sophomore year, you're like, okay, he got a lot of tackles as a freshman, but I need him to be making tackles near the line of scrimmage, and he was able to do just all of that. You know, he heard what Brad Ellis asked for, and he did it. Last year, he looked fat. Last year, he didn't look good. He looked slow. These guys didn't look fat and slow, so I will at least give them that. Again, it's Hawaii, but the eye test was much better than it was in the past. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lack, I think, of girth on the up front of the top four, especially those two interior D linemen. But the rest of that group looked athletic.
Mm-hmm.
They look big. They look strong. Genesis Smith looks like an NFL safety out there. Although, oddly enough, with the number and the hair coming out the back, for a second I was having Adam Hall flashbacks.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
Except Genesis Smith made more plays. But no, I think there is a higher quality of athlete. Yes, I think. And again, even with some of those, we wondered how good some of these kids from the small schools would be. But one thing they did is when you go to some of these 1AA schools, getting kids from Montana and Northwestern State and McNeese State, usually those schools have really good athletes. But they're not always good football players. But I think they upgraded the athleticism, especially on the defense. Now it's time to see, are these guys weight room warriors? Are these guys combine warriors, or are they just really good football players?
Yeah, I go with that, though. I'm always worried if I get like a small white guy, though, from a smaller school, they better have insane numbers because I'm not banking on him being a crazy athlete or something like that. So I got to be careful we got to be careful with that one. Though.
We're a little bit racist to our player evaluations.
Oh, it was funny. Some guy told me he was going to cancel. He's going to get me canceled on Twitter the other day because he said that I mocked the athleticism of white people, and he had like 13 examples of where it would make white people feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh, buzz off, dude. Yeah, I told him, I'm like, hey, I'll give you the email to the sponsors if you'd like to reach out.
I remember he ended up playing power forward for Iowa, so I should tell you. And I was just like, hey, that guy's actually good. When I was doing recruiting, you go to a place, you see a kid's name and not know what he was or what kind of player he was. And there are a few times you're like, oh, wait, that kid could actually play.
Yeah. No, yeah, you don't expect it, but that's my scouting report, so it's very simple. Okay, now as far as the offensive line goes, last year I didn't want to see Michael Wooten in any games. It was like watching a turnstile. It's like, oh, there he goes again. I didn't want to see any of that. This past game though, they had him in at guard, and he looked like a road degrader. Joseph, you weren't even here in the post game show, so don't talk. All right, but he looked like a road grader. Now I'm going to ask you this. All right, now, Lan Allen, Lan the man with the master plan. Well, Lan, you look past our stock photo image or read for the past 4 months, so I very much appreciate that. But the offensive line, we'll see. But the interior I thought was all right. I'm not sure about the exterior, whatever it is. But yeah, what'd you think about the line?
Offensive line, I thought they did a fine job.
Yeah.
I mean, were they? Did it look like the Mulatalo line of the Tomey era? No. But for the most part, Fafita had time to throw. They opened up running lanes. They had some cool scheme things with some pulling guards and things like that. So overall, I came away last year. They put 60 on New Mexico last year, and there were some times I was like, I don't know about the line.
Right.
I don't have concerns yet. Now, I'm not ready to. This is like you and our good friend Andre Veras. I'm not ready to endorse the offensive line.
Not going to do it.
But I'm not pressing the panic button either.
Yeah. And again, here's what I'm also at with Seth Doege. It was very nice. Oh, bring the pooch in. We're a very pooch-friendly show. Who do we have here? Talk to us. Who is
that? That was Millie Doggy Brown.
Oh, Millie Doggy Brown. Yes. Big 12 Bobby. Yes. There's a reason Big 12 Bobby is far more up the importance ladder than me, because he is right about something. We will not, and whereas I'm generally wrong about everything, we're not going to know until Kansas State. Weber State sucks. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that they're good.
But I think, and this is where I am at across the board, though. There was nothing with, again, the exception of Hawaii running the ball that has me instantly concerned. Again, I can't tell you they're good because it's Hawaii. Next week is a more inferior opponent.
Yeah, it's an inferior opponent.
Yeah, but the fact is, yes, we won't know anything officially till Kansas State, except you can say, I'm not worried yet. And that's what kind of abusive relationship we're in with Arizona football.
Yeah.
We just don't want to be hurt yet. And I'm not hurt yet.
You know what cracks me up, though? But when I'm talking with these young fans, I will say this. Yeah, that was funny when Chief called Weber State Choya. I got to give Chief credit on that. That was funny. Now, maybe not the Choya when William Brad Alice was coaching there, though. Maybe that we got to take that out of the equation, though, Brad.
I mean, I don't want to say anything, but my last freshman team, when they were seniors, went to the state semifinals of the now defunct 4A2, which would be the equivalent of 3A.
Yeah, but either way, Brad, your reputation as a coach at Choya, it speaks for itself. Okay, now. As far as the skill position guys, I'm fine. I like the Quincy Craig guy a lot. I thought he looked good. He looks a little slow, but I will definitely take it. I think him and Ricino, the running backs, I got no problem with at all. I think the running.
Wait, did you say Quincy Craig looked slow?
Yeah, and that play where he got caught from like 57-yarder or whatever, the guy was like, yeah, he caught him from behind. He looked slow. I thought he looked slow.
I thought he showed really good burst, and I want to figure out other ways to use them.
Burst and girth and burst.
Girth and burst. Yeah, that was my band in college.
Craig, though. I don't want to.
I think it's funny though that everyone's like, "Oh, we got RB1 now," and that's like, you're going to rotate 3 backs. It doesn't matter who's RB1, RB2. I think Ricino is still the bell cow back. I think he showed that he's a guy who get you your 15 to 20. I think the other guys, I think in a perfect world, Arizona wants to probably run the ball about 35, 40 times a game.
Right.
And establish the run. If you can do that, and if you can run 70, 75 plays a game, and that might be a tall order, but 55% of them are runs. I think Arizona's going to be happy with the offense. I think that means they're moving the ball and they're getting first downs. And again, I don't know if they have enough weapons to be a quick strike offense. So what you need to be a very efficient offense that continues to move the ball, run some clock, but you have to capitalize in the red zone. And for the most part, they did do that.
All right, now I got a question here. Joseph, is this a new Gen Z term? I've never heard this term before. Joseph keeps saying Marty does nothing for me. Spam Craig and Risano. So does that mean spam? Does that mean just continuously bother them then, or use them? I would assume.
I think it means continuously use them, like, because when you spam your email, you get a bunch of them. I think that one's really, but I don't know.
Stupid. That one's really stupid. Hey, who was disrespecting Choya? Chris Lockwood? We weren't disrespecting Choya at all. We just said, yeah.
That's actually a millennial term, I think, Mike, not a Gen Z term.
I never heard the term spam. I'm a millennial. I never heard the term spam. It's definitely a Gen Z thing. It sucks. Okay. Anyways, it doesn't entertain me, so it sucks. Okay. Now, so let's talk about Seth Doege, though. Seth Doege, though, very, very interesting to me in all of this. Let's get a couple more reads in here, and we're going to get to Seth Doege, because I think it was just very, very nice not seeing what we saw last year. All right, now, Land the Man with the Master Plan is in here. Eris Dental, my friends, Eris Dental. Now, this stock photo. Okay, now, this is not a stock photo. We need to treat this woman with respect. But the championship package is on the way to insertion, though. 1997. Okay, here's the deal. For dental implants, daily urgent, Monday through Friday. Check all of this out. Owned by local Arizona alumni, Land the Man with the Master Plan. My parents have been in there. They have loved it. I'm going to be in there for a cleaning on Wednesday. Very, very excited. Okay, but check it out. Eris Dental. You don't have to fly in from, I don't know, like Greenland or something, or maybe we'll own Greenland by then. I don't know. Is it Greenland or Iceland that we want to own?
They want Greenland. Iceland's not going down without a fight.
Yeah, all right. Well, Greenland, you don't have to go there to try to get your teeth replaced or get a implant. You don't have to do any of that anymore. Go to Eris Dental Eris Dental. Check it out. Back the A. Okay. Yeah, what else we got? Talk to me. Cody, you there? You live? Cody's definitely messing up here. Okay. All right. Let's see here. The championship. All right. Well, either way. All right. I guess we'll keep talking while Cody does something else. All right. Now, Bridge Tech Communications. Now, you might say to yourself, man, I got a gym here that I really want to broadcast out here. I will endorse this gym, unlike Andre Veras. I will endorse this line of communication. Tony is the man. And again, hey, Brad, in your line of business, you run the city of Marana. Do you like 750% average ROI?
I am with Pima Association of Governments, but yes, 750% ROI is very good.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, Bridge Tech Communications. It promotes 100 plus health entities across multiple states. Look at this thing. Automation, then CRM, then automation, then smart communications, customers, leads, all of that stuff. Check it out. If you got a gym, get in touch with Tony at Bridge Tech Communications. They can get it pushed out there further. Check it out. Okay, now, Seth Doege. You know what I liked about Seth Doege is that there was nothing. I didn't see anything out there that I immediately thought, all right, that's stupid. What are we doing? Last year, every single game, it was, why is Noah? I'm going to steal this from Tony Clifton. Why is Noah throwing from I-10? Or why is the delayed handoff? All that stupid stuff. There was none of that. It actually looked like they were trying to score, and it looked semi-competent. We have low expectations, low standards around here, but I like that part, Brad.
I can tell you what the offense is.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't do last year. I mean, they run a spread offense that wants to establish the run. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with that. Again, I didn't see anything that made me do backflips. I'm like, oh, this guy is an innovative. I didn't want to see that because you don't want to turn to page 2 in the playbook. It was very vanilla.
Right.
But I didn't see anything that made me. And I know someone mentioned there was a jet sweep to the weak side or the short side. Yeah, I know Jed Fish did that. There are actually strategic reasons for doing that. Now, if they do it every time, no, it's a mistake. But there's some things you want to do to get backers moving and getting DBs moving that you run that play. But overall, I did not see Noah in the gun and then drop back 15 feet or 15 yards and then try to throw
into the end zone from the 3-yard line,
or throw a 5-yard out that he has to throw the ball 45 yards.
Yeah.
I didn't see a handoff where basically Noah stands with his feet in cement with the ball held out in front of him for 35 seconds while the defensive line collapses. It looked fine. It looked good. They put 40 points on the board. I think if Noah is sharper, and he wasn't sharp,
no,
and that's
he was much better.
Mild concern, but I think it was mostly nerves. But they probably left 14 to 20 points on the board or off the board. But overall, I'm fine with it. That's going to be my theme for the whole time. It's fine. It's a B effort, a B result. But if I can get B results all year, that means I win 7-8 games and I'm wearing a bowl game. So that's all I need to see right now.
Now, let me ask you this. Why does Noah play with a hoodie on? I don't get that. Like, are you going to put it over the helmet? Because if you're playing with a hoodie, the only thing you're doing is allowing him to like yank your hoodie back or something for a tackle. I don't know why he's doing this.
I think and I've seen this around, you're starting to see more players because what they do is they wear those like dry fit like hoodies and they cut the sleeves off when they play 7-on-7. And why the hoodie?
I'm not playing 7-on-7.
I know, but it's a comfort thing. Part of it is because I did actually ask some people after the. I know some guys wear them to play 7-on-7 during the summers because it covers their neck and keeps them from getting sunburned. It's just, I think it's just a comfort thing. So if he's comfortable doing that and throws for 3,000, 3,500 yards, I'm fine with it.
All right. Well, I guess
again, I've seen kids playing with shower caps under their helmets. I'll take a hoodie all day long.
All right. Well, I guess, this is drip. Sorry, guys. Drip. Yeah. I still think it looks dumb, but whatever. Who cares? No, I don't think Noah Fafita cares about my fashion advice. But nor should he. The wide receivers too. You were playing without 2 starters as well. I think the wide receivers look fine. I'm going to be fine with that unit. I don't know what's going on with Tyler Powell. Hey, Sam Olsen was in there, baby Gronk. I've been telling everybody about Sam Olsen in this for this season. It looks like he's going to have a huge year. But the passing game, that's my big priority going into what Weber State is getting the passing game right. And if there's any way to get the passing game right, Weber State should be the team that has it.
Yeah, I think what we need to see is a progression from Noah Fafita, a little more, set his feet a little bit better, deliver the ball better. Because even 2 of his big completions were overthrows, where the big tall one was Spivey, went up to get that ball and grab it. And so you need to just continue to work on that, deliver the ball in a good spot where guys can catch, where can they run after the catch. Can't miss wide open guys like that Sam Olsen play where he was wide open in the end zone. But again, that would be my biggest concern on offense. But that's also the most easy to fix concern because we've seen him play well before.
Right.
It's not like I have to say, I still got to find 2 linemen.
Yeah.
You're not at that point.
No.
So if your biggest thing is your quarterback looked like he was too jazzed up, too hyped, that's fixable.
All right. Now, Kobe Althiel keeps saying baby Gronk. I've been trying to push this for the longest time. I just said it one time. I'm not going to ever say it again, Kobe. You can try to push that all you want. Mizell is interesting. We probably didn't talk about him a lot. There's some guys that just, at Arizona, we have a certain standard. Brian, I thought I had standard. But there are some guys that come in and they look a little bit different. Mizell looked a little bit different on the field.
Yeah, you know what? I think Spivey does too.
Yeah, they do.
Granted, it's because he's a giant. He's 6'4" as well. But yeah, no, Mizell looks a little different. Again, we all survived the Rich Rod era where there was a bunch of dudes my height. There's a bunch of dudes my height and my daughter's weight running around out there, catching pass. They were fast as.
So they're 5'6" with the body of a 12-year-old boy, basically.
5'6" and about 120, running out there. And we survived the Tomey era where half the receivers look like junior tight ends. Troy Dickey was a big boy. Richard Dice was. Those guys didn't shine in the weight room, but they also ran 4.8s.
Right.
So having these 6'3", 6'4" receivers, and T-Mac's a great example of that, but who can go up and get the ball, who are athletes. Obviously, Trey Spivey's dad being a major league player. We saw that years ago with Griffey, who was a great athlete, maybe not a great receiver, but a good receiver. it looks different. And then you can mix in these smaller, speedier receivers, these possession receivers.
I'm okay with smaller guys if they're good. The problem though is when you're just throwing out 8 of them. Like if I have like 5 Mike Thomases or like Dennis Northcutts, I'm fine with that.
Well, even let's go to the Rich Rod era. He had, Samaji was good. The kid from Basha was good. Was it Phillips?
Nate Phillips.
Yeah, but then you also had all the guys with the anagram names, the JTs, the TJs, the JWs.
Everybody was TJ Johnson, basically.
Yeah, they were all from Florida. They were all ran a 4.4, and
they all sucked.
Pitch. Yeah. So yeah, I don't mind a few of them. Gio's not the hugest receiver, but he looks like he may have some talent. But I need a variety.
Yeah.
Right. I need the flats and the wings or the drums.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're asking for a little bit of everything.
I want a combo pack. I don't want to go out there and just see a bunch of 5'6" receivers, which Rich Rod was happy with.
I remember it was like when me and Ben One White were, we would have to go to like the pressers and like, or the player availability to interview these guys. Every single wide receiver, I'm looking like right in the eye and I'm like, this is not good enough. Like, it's just not. So
no, a couple of them, great. Shun Brown, Bug Wright, Dennis Northcutt. Yeah. But
did you just put Dennis Northcutt in the same line as Shun Brown? Garbage. That is very disrespectful.
You brought up Northcutt first when we talked about. He was also taller. He was about 5'10".
All right, he's a giant.
Mike Thomas was 5'8".
Yeah.
But again, those guys also had complementary guys with them. Right. They had some of those short guys who played with for Rich Rod also had Jerron Kreiner next to them.
Yeah, it's true.
But there were also some times when they didn't under Rich Rod.
You had Dan Buckner and who was the other guy that I think he played in the MNFL too? Who was it? They had another
wide receiver. Was it Johnson?
No.
Another Texas guy.
His brother played in the MNFL too.
I thought his last name was John, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Jones, Caleb
Jones, not Johnson Jones. Yeah,
right. Okay, now
for those guys in.
Let's hear Wavy Davy. He says, "Why isn't Monty playing more?" I think because, mouth fart. I think because Ricino and Craig look good. Yeah,
it's just he's third on the depth chart right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a good thing. Yeah, Vance Johnson. Really impressed with TNT. I
thought they did a good job.
Yeah. Here's where I'm at. As long as I don't have to watch Bob Gilmore or whatever, Rod Gilmore anymore, I'm fine. My
standards are low. If you get the names right, and I actually think Golick is solid. He has the shtick, but he doesn't over rely on it.
Yeah, no, he's good. I'm fine with him.
And the irony is his dad's now working with a U of A grad on Westwood One Radio with
Schlereth?
No.
Ryan Radke?
Ryan Radke, yeah.
Oh, Ryan Radke, the great Ryan Radke.
Who I've played basketball with multiple times. He's a good basketball player.
I was going to say, when you and Shu were in there and Ryan Radke came in, there's been a lot of talent that came through 12. There's been a lot of talent.
I always joke that you want to get a job in media, either read scores for me on radio or be a board op intern.
Yeah.
I had 4 interns go on to work and none of them are in media anymore. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good seeing you, Brad.
But Jody Ayler read scores for me. Rob Lance read scores for me. And they all ended up advancing further in their careers than I did.
They did a good job. But Brad, nobody is basically the leader of a city, though, like yourself. Even if you didn't win the election that you didn't run in, you're clearly a de facto. I mean, you're a big deal in Marana, Brad Ellis. Come on.
I haven't worked in Marana in 5 years.
Yeah, but you're still. That's like Joe Bonanno saying, I got out of the game, but I haven't been here in 5 years. The name still rings bells. How about that?
That's weird. You're the second or third person who's mentioned the Bonanno family in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go by its grave earlier.
He was a topic of conversation last night at a party I was at.
Remember when all those bars in Tucson in the 70s kept getting blown up or whatever? And it was him. Actually, you might not remember that either, but my dad's told me about it a bunch.
Yeah, I was born in 73, so I was not I'm not that old.
Okay, all right, sorry. Anyways,
I was not going to bars in the 70s very often.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, now let's talk about the special teams. Field goal kicking, field goal kicking, field goal kicking. Everybody was out there. They're saying, how are we going to replace Tyler Loop? Tyler Loop. By the way, who's the best kicker in school history? Really quick, William Brad Alice. Joseph's in here. These comments. Joseph also believes, by the way, that Shaquille O'Neal didn't play any good centers in the NBA in the 90s, which is crazy because it's probably the deepest era ever of centers. But go ahead. Who's the best kicker in U of A history? Give me your two best. There's two answers.
Max.
He's one.
Steve McLaughlin.
Yeah, of course.
Now he did miss the kick against Oregon State, and then he never missed a kick again.
All right, but he won the Lou Groza.
And if you want Nick Folk, I'm not gonna argue with you. But I'm a McLaughlin guy. I went to high school with the guy.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the thing is, when you win the Lou Groza Award and you're a first-team All-American and a third-round pick, sorry, buddy. Yeah, it was funny. Want to hear something else about Joseph? Joseph was trying to tell me as well that he goes, yeah, he's like, Shaq didn't play against anybody. And then he brings up Rick Smits. And then I bring up, how about David Robinson? And he said David Robinson wasn't that good. And he's literally like a top 8 center of all time. He averaged. David Robinson, can you tell the young Bucks just what a monster David Robinson was and what he would do today to centers in the MNBA?
I think the only argument he has about there weren't a lot of girthy centers who were good in that era because you had guys like David Robinson who was just cut.
He looks like
Akeem was not super girthy. He relied a lot, but you had Patrick Ewing who could play center.
Alonzo Mourning.
The Pacers would throw waves of guys at you.
Right.
There were some quality. I'm forgetting probably 25 guys.
I was crazy. I sent him the stats real quick. David Robinson, who wins MVPs, who had a 71-point game, averaged 30 and 10 on a season, and Joseph had no clue about it. He kept saying, "What about Rick Smits?" And it's like, okay,
Rick Smits wasn't terrible though.
The centers in the 90s would beat the snot out of the centers today. Correct.
Sabonis. But here's the other thing, though. If you're playing the Spurs, you're not just going against David Robinson because then they're going to drop a double team on you with Timmy.
Tim Duncan, exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Joseph, take the you're getting the glove right now. Sorry, buddy. Okay. All right. Now, anyways, back to that. Salgado Medina.
Look good.
You look good. You look good. You know what it is with what's so weird about the kicking situation, and I know you're in the same boat as this one with me. I grew up in the early 90s starting watching Arizona football. And there were two things that you could really count on here with Arizona football. It was going to be a really good defense. It was going to be a lousy offense, and the special teams were going to be awesome. And then so when we get into the 2000s and I'm watching terrible special teams play, I'm basically saying to myself, please bring me back the special teams units, please. This would be 2 straight years with a good, one good kicker after another. That would be very nice to see.
And now his name escaping me. You have to apologize, but the kid before Loop wasn't bad. I mean, it's been a decent
Scouran or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Scouran. Yeah, he had a cup of coffee in the NFL as well.
Alex Sendejas.
No, and there was a run there where it wasn't very good.
Right.
Well, it was I think it was kind of Stoops still put an emphasis on kickers.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, Makovic had some good kickers.
Haversack was the one that played in the MNFL.
Yeah, Haversack. Yeah, Scouran wasn't terrible. But here's the thing, and it's ironic. The beginning of the end of the Arizona kickers, Stoops had to make a decision. He had to either offer Nick Folk's brother or Max's nephew. And the pressure from boosters, this is the story I heard. I was still covering recruiting at the time, was let's offer. And again, Sendejas was a great high school kicker, but he got to Arizona and he struggled.
Yeah.
And the other kid went to Washington and was fine. He's not his brother, obviously. But that was kind of because when Rich Rod came in, remember, he barely had a special teams coach.
Well, right. And that's what would always bother me. There's something about that would always bother me, and it's always the macho people that tell me this. We're going to get to this in a second, but first, let's get to some reads. Back to reads. What do we got? Talk to me. Reads. like a fiend on Grant Stone right now. Okay, reads. All right, now Longview. Andre Veras is in here. Now, Andre Veras, we were at Top Golf. We had to watch Jason Shear try to swing a golf club, which is easily the most unathletic event I have ever seen in my life. He basically tries to putt the ball with a driver is bad. But Andre Veras was there as well. And Andre Veras made up for what I had to watch with those eyes. But again, there was food, there was drinks, all of that. I didn't endorse him. Wasn't going to do it. I said, I'm going to come here. I'm going to hit some golf balls. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to wish you a happy birthday. Didn't endorse him. Got out of there without endorsing him. Kept trying to give me liquor and saying, here, take this. It'll make you sleepy for a little while. And I said, I'm not going to do any of that. And because, again, I will not endorse you, but I will highly recommend you. Give Andre a call at 325-3456 and reference the AZ12 podcast for a complimentary initial meeting, and check out us at longviewii.com. He only works with high-end clients. But again, check it out. Do you have a young family? All of that stuff. You will thank me later. Longview. Boom. Okay. What else we got? Brad, I can't see you anywhere. Where'd you go? Brad.
I don't know.
Brad, you're blurry. Oh, God. Okay. Whew. All right. Now, Arizona Primary Eye Care. 4 locations for routine exams, including one on campus. Now, they're now part of the My Eye Doctor network, which is very, very big. Now, again, that's cool. They also got 60+ insurances accepted. Same day urgent visits. 520-322-2713. Back the eye. Look at these things. These Tom Ford. Have you ever heard of Tom Ford? Ever seen Tom Ford in person, William Brad Ellis?
I've never seen him in person, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Well, here's Tom Ford right here. And again, they got me a really good deal on it. Check it out. ArizonaPrimaryEyeCare.com. Okay. All right. Now, what else we got here? All right. Now, I look around the Big 12, Brad, and I'm thinking to myself, man, can we run this thing? And the only reason I'm asking is because nobody looked good. Kansas State did not look good. I think Arizona, I'm warming up to picking Arizona to beat Kansas State. But we'll see how that one goes. But looking around the Big 12, is this Arizona's conference to lose?
No. You don't bring me on here for hyperbole.
Can I run it by you again?
You don't. No. Can Arizona compete in the conference? Maybe.
Can Arizona let me rephrase. Can Arizona get you saying MNBA and MNFL? Do they have that type of capability?
There's a slight chance they may get me to say it for the month of February. Yes. And for those of you who don't know, we have a bet. If Arizona wins 8 or more games, I will put the M in front of leagues that do not need the M in front of it for the month of February. If they make the college football playoff, I will say it for perpetuity.
All right. By the way, Joseph, just so you know, Joseph, because I know you can't read, the NBA literally had to change the rules for Shaq. They allowed zone defenses because nobody could guard him one-on-one. They literally changed the rules because of Shaq and how dominant he was. Go look that one up, dummy.
That's my dad's argument for Wilt Chamberlain, by the way, being one of the best of all time.
I get it. I mean, dude, if they literally...
They took the dunk out of college basketball because of him.
If they have to change the rules because you are too dominant, especially in the modern era... I don't know what to tell you, man. Sorry. Okay.
Hey, you realize that a coach at Arizona had 2 rules partially changed because of him. And it was Dick Tomey.
About not trying to score on offense?
No, they changed the rule on the fumble rooski because of Dick Tomey. Because one of the USCs or whatever complained about the fumble rooski. And he partially changed the overtime rule. Right. Remember when he was like, you need to go for 2, and all that was partially because of Dick Tomey.
Oh, interesting. I thought it would have been that national championship game with Nebraska.
I also think they might have also changed the Halo rule because of him too.
No, they changed that because of Brandon Sanders. But yeah, I mean,
because Dick Tomey's like, wait, if we just hit the guy before he catches it, they only get 5 yards.
But
okay.
By the way, Marcus and Joseph, you two putzes. Find me where Steph Curry actually had the rules changed because of him, like Shaq did. We'll go with that. All right, now let's look around the conference here a little bit. BYU, they got a new quarterback in that's probably not having sex. So they and he ran a lot. I will say this though, if BYU had a quarterback that I could really trust, I would feel very, very good about BYU in there, but I still don't know.
You're not a fan of Bear Bachmeier?
Yeah, it's a great name. I would love to get that guy.
Where's his brother at now, by the way?
I don't know. That's a great question. Somebody look that up right now.
Because Arizona loved him at one point. He was a 4-star guy. I know he was at Boise for a while.
No. By the way, real quick, Joseph, and this is the last time I'm going to have to slap Joseph around real quick. So the Eagles are a force in the NFL to change the rule for the tush push. No. They make Jalen Hurts the greatest QB of all time. No. What they did with Shaq would be
it means they might have one of the greatest offensive lines of all time.
What it means also is that if they literally had to change the rule, if they literally had, if I'll put it to you like this, if the Eagles were scoring touchdowns every play or every series on 2 plays because of what they were doing, and they had to change the rules because one team was just so much better than the other, that's what it would have been the equivalent of. Nice try. Okay. All right. Now, so where are we at though? With but looking around the conference though, I think Iowa State's really good. I like Iowa State. Kansas State doesn't impress me much so far. ASU I thought looked kind of like poo.
Yeah, it's hard to judge from one game. Right now, I would say the teams that impressed me on the opening weekend or opening weekends, if you're Iowa State looked pretty good. Again, Texas Tech played a high school team, but they looked really, really good. They covered a 55-point. West Virginia looked solid. BYU looked good. Again, but it's hard to tell because, again, we like to poo-poo ASU. They could turn around next week, fine-tune a few things, and look great. But they did not look great against
I got to give you and Tony Gimino a lot of credit. You and Tony Gimino are not in on the ASU train. You have never been. You laid down the gauntlet and said, I will not be the
I think they regress a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Does that mean I think they're a bad team? No. I don't think they go from 10 wins to 4 wins like Arizona did last year. But I do not think, not only do I not think they're not going back to the playoffs, I don't think they're sniffing it. I also get though, if you're an ASU fan, you should be outraged by my comments. I just think they'll be a good football team.
They've just never, the thing about ASU is they've never strung it together. And I don't want to hear about Frank Kush. I don't care about like the Mountain Rivalry Conference or any of that crap. I'm talking about since they've been in an actual major conference, they've never strung it together. Period.
It's here's the thing. We've seen this. The only team that's a kind of blue blood that has been able to string it together of the Pac-12 teams was Oregon.
Yeah, but that's because of Nike money, though.
Yeah, Washington State was close under Price and Erickson when they had that run when they were actually the winningest team in the Pac-12
Don James was probably the best.
Well, Don James is. I considered Washington kind of a blue blood.
Fair enough.
Because they were good. They were good before I started watching in 1982.
Right.
But look at Arizona's best teams. They can't build on them either. So This isn't an ASU indictment. Colorado was in the Pac-12 title game.
Right.
6 years ago, whatever it was, and then won 2 games 2 years later.
Right.
For the Arizona, and that's why it'll be interesting to see. Now that there is a kind of a power void in the Big 12, can traditional teams who can't string it together, Oklahoma State, who's a consistent 8-win program, but they've never been anything better with the occasional 10-win, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, can one of these assume power in the conference?
Right.
Because again, Arizona got rid of by moving USC, UCLA, Oregon.
Yeah, we didn't want them anyway. They couldn't hang with
Washington. By losing Oklahoma and Texas, you lost the 2 big dogs football-wise. Ironically enough, I thought it was going to be Oklahoma State, and they seem to be regressing horribly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think for the next decade until they reshuffle all this, my guess is over the next 10 years, you'll have 7 different conference champions.
Yeah, I can see that. By the way, I think it's going to be a tough slog in SRS for Washington this year. I watched them against what was it, like Colorado State or something like that, and was like, Colorado did share that title. I think
they had a good fourth quarter.
But you know what's
and Colorado State's not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad.
You know what's interesting about what Washington is, though, is Washington is probably, what is Washington all time off success? A top 15-ish program, something like that? Top 15?
15 to 20, yeah.
Okay, something like that. But now with revenue sharing and everything in the Big 12 or Big 10, it's going to be interesting because they're not going to be able, because Jed was complaining last year that they have nowhere near the money that Oregon has. Well, you knew that when they took it, when you took the job. But then you've got SC, then you got Ohio State, then you got Michigan, then you got, Penn State. I don't see any reason they can't be good. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to be great, though, because those other ones just have a lot more going for them.
It'll be, to me, the interesting thing will be in that conference. Can they or Nebraska figure it out?
Yeah.
Nebraska is now probably considered a top 7 program. At one point, they were top 3 or 4, right? It was Bama, Ohio State,
Nebraska
Michigan,
for a long time was above Alabama, because when I was growing up, Alabama sucked.
They were fine. Yeah. And same thing with LSU and Georgia were just okay for a while. But Nebraska, has the problem of they haven't been relevant in a while.
Yeah.
They've got a very small recruiting base.
They have one of the best NIL things in the country. So
and if they can, and again, I think Rule's a really good coach, but we'll see. Years ago, and I guess this hasn't been completely proven. I thought Colin Cowherd, one of the few good things he ever said was, I see the balance of power shifting to sunny locations.
Yeah.
And with the exception kind of Michigan and Ohio State, that's been kind of true. Penn State has had trouble climbing back to where they've been. Again, Notre Dame's up and down, Penn State up and down. Nebraska's been mostly down.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's room at the top for both Washington and Nebraska. It might be one or the other.
Yeah.
It might be neither.
Let me ask you this. Do you think with Arizona then, right now, after what we watched, do you think that Arizona can finish in the top 6 in the Big 12? Because I do.
I think they can. I don't know if they will.
Right. Yes.
They didn't show me anything to panic.
Right.
And that's where I come away from.
Yeah.
They could still finish in the bottom 6 too. I don't know.
You know what my concern was? My concern was we were going to be on the post game and we were talking about how Arizona won by like 15, but they gave up over like 250 yards rushing or something. And it's like, and there was really none of that. So I got to give them credit on that one.
Yeah. They beat Hawaii better than I thought they'd beat Hawaii.
Yes, exactly. So we shall see. Now, I'm going to ask you this then, Brad. All right, let's get a couple reads in here, and then we're going to get back to a couple things that I saw that I thought were very interesting for the U of A. But first, Baggins. Look at the great Dennis Walsh in here. We would have hoped that we're going to get a real time today from Dennis Walsh at Baggins. Now, Dennis has never real timed himself eating the flowers. I don't know that he is. I don't know that he's not. But either way, check it out. 12 Arizona locations, locally owned and operated. All food made in-house daily. Every sandwich comes with a chocolate chip cookie. Back the cookie. Use code AZ12 for 15% off. Join the VIP text club. Text Baggins to 877-797-0444 for specials and deals. Okay, very much appreciate you, David Adams. Better late than never. Back the bag, baby. Back the bag. All right, yeah. Brad, you should go to Baggins sometime, and you should real time it. I'd very much appreciate that. It'd get me very excited.
I'll try and do that for you.
Yes, that would be awesome. So, okay, there. All right, so we got that. Boom, check it out. Now, what else we got? All right. Have you ever seen Tony Gimino smile?
Twice.
All right. Well, we're about to show you a third time.
In fantasy football.
All right, let's see it right now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this man right here. Look how excited he is to be there. Now, Tony Gimino, he said they saved him almost $2,000, and they were very, very thorough. They were girthy in their response time, and they did a lot of really good stuff. They could be like you. Also, if you have Kobe Alfield, we've talked about this a billion times, doesn't have an HVAC. He said he won't. He said he doesn't need it in the car or the house. Kobe, at some point, we're just going to put together one, and we're going to go through ComfortX HVAC, though, because they will also get you a cheaper deal. Again, you need HVAC. We don't want you as you approach your 30s to actually, lose your brain or something if it's still there. Okay, but either way, check it out. All right, you will thank me later. ComfortX HVAC. All right, now, what do we got? Okay. All right, Brad. So I'm looking at this right now, though, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to ask you a couple games right now, and I want you to tell me, does Arizona beat Kansas State? Are you prepared to go out on a limb and say that?
Yeah, I think if Kansas State continues to play the way they have, I think Arizona can beat them. Yeah.
No, Brad. Right now, are you calling your shot? Are you saying that Arizona is going to beat Kansas State? Do it.
Yeah, I'll say they beat Kansas State.
Yes. And which means, do you start getting a little bit nervous about the MNFL and the MNBA if Arizona starts out 3-0? Do you start to get a little nervous?
I do.
All right,
I get nervous.
That'll be my best work ever. If I can drag you into something that you absolutely don't like by losing the most outlandish bet ever, Brad, that would be some of my proudest work ever.
You would be commended.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now we are a basketball school as well, not nearly to the extent that the football school, but I want to talk a little bit about basketball too. I want to talk about Braden L. Burries. I'm going back and I'm looking at it and I'm talking about kind of like the, Kobe L. Thiel's turning 29 next year. So hopefully by 30, we can get him in HVAC. Okay. But, I'm thinking about this and I'm going back. I was going back to the Loot eras. Guards that came in with hype, or even if they didn't have hype, clearly had talent at that 2-guard position to be able to play immediately. The first one that I think about is Khalid Reeves. Came in, obviously, McDonald's All-American, was on some pretty talented teams, averaged 9 or 10 a game as a freshman. Then after that, Miles Simon came in. Wasn't more of a top 50 type guy, but he played immediately. Loot loved Miles Simon. Then you had Gilbert Arenas, Jared Bayless, obviously. I'm going to ask you this. Where do you expect Braden Burries then? Salim played as well. Very good call. Big 12 Bobby. Where do you expect Braden Burries' freshman year to compare to some of those guys that I just put out there?
I think Arizona needs Burries to be closer to Arenas and Bayless and those other guys, only because those other guys didn't start. Mm-hmm. Salim might have started in and out with Bynum, but for the most part, the other guys came off the bench.
Right.
Reeves played 25, 30 minutes a game. If Burries can be in the 12 to 15 range, Arizona's in really good shape.
Hassan wasn't a shooting guard, though, even though he thought he was, Dennis Walsh. But yes, that's where I'm at. I want him to be in that. I don't need him to be Bayless. I need him to be somewhere between Khalid and Bayless as a freshman, somewhere in that 14 to 15 point game range or whatever. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's he needs to be a competent scorer. He needs to be a scoring option for Arizona more than a role player.
Yes, and that's what, if they get that, then I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. Hassan was played at the power forward. Yeah, Hassan Adams at power forward was absolutely one of the best power forward. He was still the 2 more than 3. No, he wasn't.
There were stretches. Hassan was more of a 3, but there were stretches where, depending on what the lineup was, it was almost more like positionless basketball. They'd bring in him and Iggy. Gardner was still your point guard. You'd have Walton out there as kind of your point forward, and the rest were just athletes. So, yeah, I think that I consider Hassan Adams a wing and more of a 3, but there were times he was a 2-guard. And then once he went in the tank senior year dealing with...
He was much better as a 4. 4 was his best.
He was much better as a 4, and he was much better as a 3. A 3 who was a slasher. Then remember, he was trying to shoot his way into the NBA. He was also dealing with some horrendous.
Did I tell you when he almost
grief issues with the death of Chantonese Polk that I've never seen someone scoring average drop like his dropped. And again, a lot of that was depression. And dealing with their death.
Did I ever tell you when he tried to? I thought he was going to beat me up at North, the bar on 4th Avenue.
No.
Yeah. Well, so anyways, he was in there and he was asking people to buy him drinks because he had just made an MNBA roster, and I knew he hadn't. And then he tried telling everybody that he did, and I said, "Why?" I said, "Buy me a drink. I am also not on an MNBA or an NBA roster." And he's like, "I'm on an NBA roster." And he said, "The Lakers just signed me." I said, "No, they didn't." And we're getting into all this, and he's like, "Why are you arguing with me? I know it." And of course, he wasn't on the Lakers. He's just making that up to get free drinks or whatever. But one guy told me, he's like, "Hey, dude, that guy could definitely beat the crap out of you." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm just hoping he doesn't beat the crap out of me, but I'm going to be a smart aleck in the meantime." So there's my Hassan Adams story.
Dennis Walsh, I'm a big Hassan guy, and I feel bad that his career ended the way it did.
First 3 years of Hassan Adams. Loved the first 3 years.
Remember, he entered mid-January averaging over or around 20 points a game, and by the time March rolled around, was down to like 4. I've never seen, and again, it's because he kind of settled for jump shots. Again, he was dealing with some physical stuff, some mental stuff. Remember, for those who don't know, Chantonese Polk was a women's basketball player. He was like a sister to him. and she died unexpectedly, and he really struggled with it, made some poor choices in dealing with it. But I think his scoring average dropped 6 points a game in 2 months, which is statistically really hard to do. He was on his way through mid-January to being Pac-12 Player of the Year, and ended
because he had that game against Washington, and then after that it was all downhill, like where he outplayed Brandon Roy and all that.
Yeah,
and then after that it was like, he's just shooting threes, and it was like,
but he played power forward at 6'4" and was second or third in the Pac-12 in rebounding.
Yeah, dude, with the 17-8 season, he was awesome. People don't get it, but he was better than Iggy.
Much better. Iggy, people don't realize Iggy was he was fine.
Oh, hey, I got a pretty funny story for you.
He wasn't. Put it this way: whose college career would you rather have at Arizona, Iggy or Marcus Williams?
Yeah. No, I get it. It's a great point. All right. By the way, it was pretty funny. This young generation always cracks me up. Joseph was trying to bash me for saying that I didn't have Salim as one of the 5 best point guards in school history, and I said, well, being that he didn't play point guard at the U of A, I don't know what to tell you there, Mr. Joseph.
Salim played minutes at the point to spell people, but
so did Khalid. But
Khalid, yeah.
No, he was not that, and it was cracking me up. He was trying to tell me all this, and he kept lecturing me, and I said, and then I realized, I'm like, I wonder if he means Damon Stoudemire, and then I'm like, oh, he doesn't even know who Damon Stoudemire is. So.
No, look, I am a massive Salim fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a point guard.
Yes, exactly.
He played minutes at the point guard, but he wasn't.
But he wasn't a point guard.
And Salim might be my favorite Wildcat of all time. That's how crazy I love Salim.
The 3 best point guards in school history, I don't care what order you put them in, are very, very easy. The 3 best, and it's not even close. You got Mike Bibby, you got Damon, and you got JT. It's those 3. Then you can start arguing about McConnell or Gardner or whatever you want to put, but it's those 3. Those ones were what?
Kerr.
All right, you can put Kerr in there, but
now, Grant, he and McMillan were kind of combo guards.
Kerr wasn't in that class though with those 3.
But man, his assist to turnover ratio was amazing.
I get it, but those were like literally best player in the country.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Again, if we're putting Kerr's career against JT's career, I'm taking Kerr's. But if you're talking best season, then it's JT, obviously.
All right, fair enough. Okay, now let's get a couple reads in here. Everybody, go to Little Caesars. We got to pack Little Caesars. All right, everybody in there. Now, I want to say first Nova. Yeah, Nova AZ Loans, baby. First of all. Yeah. Now, all right, here's the thing. Nova Loans, the Mooney team. Show me the Mooney. Okay, look at that. Look at that right there. Look at that. Scan that QR code. Get in there. And again, maybe you're like Kobe Alfiel and you're looking for a house without AC. Guess what? You're still going to need a loan to make that happen, even without the AC. All right, now ready to purchase or refinance your home? Take your shot with the Mooney team. Also, proudly supports Tucson, the basketball community. Zach Mooney, show me the Mooney. NovaAZLoans.com, 520-230-5599. I'm going to be meeting with Zach on Thursday. Looking at some Tahoe stuff. You know what's cool? I could literally do this show if I moved to Tahoe. All right, yeah. Foster Plumbing, back the pipe.
I was wondering if you meant Tahoe, your vacation spot, or Tahoe like you're buying a vehicle.
No. I'm not going to get a home loan for a vehicle. But yeah,
I was going to say that doesn't seem wise. But if anyone can make it work, it's the Mooney team.
Yeah, it's the Mooney team for sure. Now, Foster Plumbing. Now, I might say to yourself, man, is your toilet been clogged or anything? Brad, have you clogged your toilet lately?
Not today.
Well, you got a lot of growing kids in there. I'm sure that thing's been clogged a lot.
A few times, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But next time it gets clogged, though, back the pipe. Call Foster Plumbing. And guess what? If you say the AZ12 podcast, you're going to get 10% off. Again, call 520-603-3817. Back the pipe. Now, again, this very much bothers Dennis L. Walsh that the pipe is coming out the front, which it is funny. I didn't even notice it at first, but that's what a Sal Point education will do to you vis-a-vis a Saguaro education. So there is that. Okay, so either way, check it out. You will thank me later. Back the pipe. Foster Plumbing, baby. All right, now, everybody get out to Little Caesars. Everybody get out to Little Caesars today. We need Little Caesars. All right, now, Cody, you might say to yourself, Mike, I have a small Vietnamese village living in my backyard, and I want to be able to feed all of them. That's something that's very, very good, and with a smaller amount of money. Code 15 off 20. That will do it for you. Check it out. Code LCFREECC if you just want to go with the small route. But either way, go to Little Caesars. You will thank me later. And this guy on Twitter, I know he's going to clip this and probably say, I'm going to cancel you. I did it on purpose. Check it out. Either way, 15 off 20. Okay. Now, Brad, you are the man. We very much appreciate you, Brad. You're playing hurt today, too.
Yeah, a little under the weather, a little bit fighting off a head cold. Of course, I'd get the day off, had all these plans and doing housework and stuff, and basically dropped Tyler off at football practice at 7 a.m., then went back to bed.
Yes, exactly. All right, but that's what we want. We want you to go back to bed. We need you, William Brad Alice. You are you're a pillar in the Tucson community, a sports icon. We very much appreciate you.
Appreciate the kind words.
All right. Now, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. We start on 90-minute shows. Show me the money. Okay. On that note, though, all right, for Mr. William Brad Alice, for Cody James Martin, everybody in the comments, we all love you guys. You guys are fantastic. We'll be back with you tomorrow. You've been listening to the AZ12 podcast.